record button. Great, now it's time to be official. I'm Darcy, I'm from Personal Travel Management, and thanks for coming to our presentation tonight at PTM. We have our Tahiti specialist in office, Linda, who's going to be interviewing our special Tahiti specialist. Well, we have two Tahiti specialists, really, one in-house and one with Anderson Vacations, Darcy, who's going to be doing a cooking demonstration with us too. So I hope that makes sense. Two Tahiti specialists, one in-house, interviewing our representative from Anderson Vacations, Darcy. So it's going to be an exciting night. We've never done a virtual information night with a cooking demonstration, so that's kind of new. And I just wanted to say we're going to get everybody to mute themselves. Any questions that are to be had will take place at the end, and there'll be an opportunity for you to speak and unmute yourself then, because we don't want to be interrupted while the ladies do their thing. And that's it. If you want to raise your hand at any point, or I guess that's at the end, okay? Yeah. Well, so the emotion buttons are on the bottom bar. If you're not familiar with Zoom, the emotion buttons are at the bottom bar. You can kind of raise a hand or just say hey in general if you want in the chat at any time. Feel free to actually post any questions in the chat as we go throughout the presentation. That way you don't forget. We're just not going to address it right away. So you can 5 minutes in, post something on the chat, and then we'll answer it at the end. So on that note, Linda, if you want to come over here.
No, I'm off screen.
Oh,
go ahead with Darcy.
Oh, go ahead with Darcy. Oh, okay. Sorry. There we go. You're going to get me longer. Yay.
Do you want me to share my screen, Darcy?
I'm just passing it all over to you, girl, and you can just take it on from here.
Yeah, give me 5 seconds here because I just need to pull up my PowerPoint. I have it hidden away here. 1 second.
Oh, we can look at your beautiful living room in the meantime.
Yeah, thank you. I'll just make sure that I have this sharing capability, and it looks like I do.
Thing in the background, it's not so nice.
There we go. I'll play from the start. And you can see my PowerPoint presentation okay?
Oh, I see it. Does everybody else see it? Can we have a hands up or a thumbs up or something if you can see it?
Okay, excellent. Terrific. Thanks, Darcy. So I'm the other Darcy, and I'm also a Tahiti. I would love to say I'm an expert. I think I'm an expert because I have an incredible passion for Tahiti. But we have some surprises for you tonight. First of all, I want to thank Personal Travel Management for being like the best travel agency in the world to work with. They are so easy to work with. They're so professional. And if you are dealing with PTM right now, you are dealing with the best agents in the industry, bar none. And I can say that from personal experience. So tonight we're going to talk about our bucket list South Pacific destination. So I know you signed up for Tahiti, but I'm gonna play with you a little bit and give you a little bit more than you bargained for, because I like talking about Tahiti. I love talking about Tahiti, but I'm also gonna bring in another destination. So let's pretend we're at a rock concert. We're gonna have an opening act, and then we're gonna have the main act after that. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about another destination beforehand. So I don't know how many of you were on earlier when we were just sort of chit-chatting, but it is true that I was in Tahiti when COVID actually hit in March. And I thought to myself at first, oh my gosh, I couldn't be in a better place to be stranded than Tahiti. However, I wasn't going to stay there for months and months and months. So I ended up jumping on the very last flight that came out of Tahiti back home to Canada. And I was grateful to be back home, but I was very sad to be leaving one of the most amazing places on earth. So again, I thank Personal Travel Management for having me speak tonight, because it's just a joy to be here with all of you. Let's see if we can get away with no technical difficulties tonight, but if we have any, we'll just go with the flow. My name is Darcy Guarderas, and I'm the Director of Business Development for a company called Anderson Vacations. We are a Canadian company, so when you shop with Personal Travel Management and they work with us, you're supporting 2 local Canadian businesses. And I can say for a fact that there's never been a more important time than right now, post-COVID. I think we're post-COVID almost, to be supporting local businesses. So thank you for that. I've been in the tourism industry for over 33 years, and I've traveled the world extensively. I'm very, very grateful for all the places I've been. And I've been all over the South Pacific to Fiji, Cook Islands, Tahiti, Australia, New Zealand multiple times. So I'd love to share some of this with you tonight. I mentioned that we're a Canadian company. We've been in business for over 28 years. And the difference between us and all the other guys out there is the personalized service that we offer to our travel agency partners, because we love travel agents. And if you've ever been stranded somewhere due to COVID or any other, world issue, you know how incredibly important they are. So thank you for supporting them. Now we've got 3 great options to explore the South Pacific. We've got independent customized itineraries. So that means if you're traveling, as a couple or a family, we can put together an itinerary with your agent to create a really magical experience for you traveling alone. But if you don't want to travel alone or just as a couple and you prefer to be traveling with a group, we offer fully escorted small group tours. And I'm going to emphasize this small part because small is really important now post-COVID, or I guess I shouldn't say post because we're still in a little bit of it, but I like to say post because I like to pretend it's behind us. And small groups really important because we've been doing that for a long time. We've been doing it longer than anyone in Canada. And it's just nice because you've got lots of space on the coach because we use full-size coaches. And then we have custom groups too. And sometimes your PTM agent might put together a special customized group and invite you to join them on that group too. Now, the 2 destinations I'm going to talk about tonight are going to be the Cook Islands and Tahiti. Tahiti, of course, being the main course. And we're also doing a cooking demonstration after that. But the Cook Islands I wanted to share with you as well. And the reason I wanted to share this with you is because so often I mention the Cook Islands and 95% of the time I get a reaction like this. Where's that? What's the Cook Islands? I've never heard of it, or I've heard of it, but I don't know anything about it. So I'm going to share this with you as well this evening. So let's start with the Cook Islands. And I'll just show you this map. It's not the best map in the world, but right here you can see the Cook Islands, which are not too far from Tahiti. I like to say the Cook Islands are sort of the less expensive version of Tahiti. You can do Tahiti affordably as well, and we'll get into that in a little while, but the Cook Islands are really special too. So you can see where they're located, Australia being over here, Fiji here, so all in the same area. It's a great, it's not the most clear map, but it gives you an idea of where everything is located. So the Cook Islands is a really special place, and it's really, really easy to get to. What I love about this place, there's so many things. I think it's the best value in the entire South Pacific. So if you're thinking about Tahiti and for some reason it's not within your budget this year, maybe the Cook Islands might be, and maybe Tahiti will be moved back 1 year, or maybe you can do both. It's hard to say. Most of us have saved a lot of money not traveling over the last 18 months. We've all renovated our bathrooms, our backyards, and our kitchens. And now it's time to get back to living and traveling and experiencing these wonderful destinations. So how do you get to the Cook Islands? Super easy. The best way is with Air New Zealand, which actually is my favorite airline in the entire world. I've flown on lots of airlines. They fly out of Los Angeles to Rarotonga in the Cook Islands, which is the capital city. So Air New Zealand has all kinds of options. You've got your economy class, your premium economy class. And if you look in the top right-hand corner, see that seat that looks like almost like a little bed? I like to call that the cuddle class, but it actually has a real name. Let me just figure out what the real name of it is. It's called a sky couch. So you can actually book economy class, and you only pay for 2 seats if it's available, and you get the 3rd seat for free. And then they open it up, and it turns into like a little miniature bed for you. Now, it's not long enough for you to lay down and sleep, but if you really like each other, you can definitely cuddle. Or when one person's kind of snuggling against you, you can put your legs up and read a book. It's really a great feature. And then, of course, they have business class. And once you try business class on Air New Zealand, you're not going to ever go any other way. I flew business class right before COVID, and it was life-changing because the service is amazing. But I have to say, the service in economy class is outstanding too. They have a service on the plane, the little screens on the back of the seats. You can order yourself a bag of chips or a little serving of grapes or a glass of wine, even in economy class, and have it delivered to your seats. The flights out of LA leave in the evening, and they arrive in the morning. So if you leave at 11 o'clock at night out of LA, you would arrive in Rarotonga the next morning. So if you're able to sleep on the plane, you actually get there refreshed and start your day. And most of the accommodation that we work with will let you check in early for small fee, so you can start your vacation almost upon arrival. Now, the main island of Rarotonga, there's like 15 islands, but Rarotonga is the main island. and it's the capital area. And here you can see all the beautiful mountains. But if you look down where the water is, see how blue, crystal clear blue it is near the shoreline? There's actually a reef all the way around. I'm thinking Christmas. There's a reef all the way around the island, which is great because it's protected and very calm. So you can snorkel right off of the shore. It's beautiful. And you can climb up into the mountains, do some fabulous hiking, all kinds of great hiking, and lots of things to see and do here. It is a tiny, tiny little island. Now it's only 32 kilometers full circle around the island. And the bus goes all the way around. So you don't need to rent a scooter or a car, but you can. But remember that they drive on the left-hand side of the road. It takes about 45 minutes to go around the island. And the two buses, one is clockwise and one is counterclockwise. So it's pretty simple and it's an inexpensive way to travel around the island. Another great thing is a lot of the resorts will actually drive you to the local restaurants and then bring you back after you've had a couple glasses of wine, so you don't have to worry about that. And I love that about the Cook Islands as well. Now, this is my favorite shot because this truly is the epitome of Cook Islanders. They are beautiful, joyful, wonderful people. And if you're walking along the side of the road and these two ladies happen to be driving by on their scooter, and you might actually see these two ladies, they will stop and ask you what you're doing, where you're going, do you need a hand, everything okay? Everyone's so friendly and wonderful in the Cook Islands. Now, one of the really special things to do here is to go to church. Even if you're not a churchgoer normally, it's a really incredible experience. If you've ever watched a movie where people are singing and clapping and they're wearing the Sunday best with the church hats and things like that, that's what you'll experience in Rarotonga. It's open to any denomination and it's a really wonderful thing. And they do welcome tourists to experience this. And I've had clients who've done this before who just loved it and wanted to go back every Sunday. Now, a really special feature that I've never seen anywhere else other than the Cook Islands, and this is in Rarotonga, the main island, is something called a progressive dinner, where they pick you up at your resort or hotel. And then do you remember in the 80s when progressive dinners were in and we used to go from one house to the next house, have appetizers at one house, main course at another, and dessert at the third house? That's exactly what you do, but you are inside the locals' homes. So with their kids, their dogs, their chickens, their roosters, it is truly authentic and immersive. And that's what we're looking for in travel nowadays. We want a really, truly authentic, immersive experience. I could talk about that forever. This gentleman, his name is Pa, and he is an incredible man who lives on top of the mountain, and he's a medicine man, and he does tours, and he will do things like while you're walking through the jungle, take a leaf off of a branch, chew on it, and then stick it on your arm because he saw that you had eczema on your arm. He's a naturalist, and he's interesting and crazy and a little bit wacky, but that's what's so wonderful about him. So you can experience little cool things like that. I'm going to turn my phone off here. Sorry, I didn't realize it was on. Another one of the islands from the Cook Islands that's the most popular one to visit after Rarotonga is Atutaki. Now you can see how tiny this island is at the top of the screen. You can actually walk around this island. It's so tiny and the water is crystal clear. So this would be an add-on to your package to Rarotonga. You might do an extra 2 or 3 nights here. This is where you would absolutely decompress. Not that you wouldn't in Rarotonga, but here there's nothing to do except what you see in the picture. It is a little piece of heaven. You can even go to a little island just off of Atutaki called One Foot Island and get your passport stamped with this adorable little stamp that you see on the screen. This is what it's like there. You can take these little boat cruises around through this beautiful water. There are sandbars where you can jump out and lay on the sandbar and drink a nice cold beverage and see little palm trees that are this big growing out of the sand. And this is the first place I've ever seen giant clams. Now you can see that person behind the clams in the bottom picture. They are actually giant clams. I usually say they're big enough to eat my dog. That's how large they are. And if you can see in the right-hand picture, they look like they're plugged in. They're lit up with either blue or purple or yellow. They're absolutely magical. So you can snorkel over these and see them. You don't have to be a diver. You can actually see them because the water is quite shallow. We've got an escorted tour that we offer called the 13-day Cook Islands Discovery, which is a hosted tour that we do offer. We're hoping to run it this season. It'll depend all on what's happening in the world, but that's our intention. And this is just a few of the highlights that I've discussed today in this presentation with regards to the Cook Islands. So that's just a little overview of the Cooks and another great viewing point. One of the things I do want to mention is that there are no buildings in the Cook Islands that are taller than a palm tree. So it's really authentic and really back to the roots. And if you compare it to other destinations in the South Pacific, they get like not even a third of the visitors they do in other destinations. So it's really kind of a hidden gem. So now we're going to talk a little bit about Tahiti, and this is what you all signed up for. So let's talk a little bit about this. Now, most people, when they hear the word Tahiti, they automatically think Bora Bora, right? Bora Bora, that's sort of the honeymoon place or the place you go for anniversaries or just to reconnect with your partner, or if you're traveling alone, if you're looking for absolute paradise. People think of Tahiti, they think of Bora Bora. But there's so much more to Tahiti than just Bora Bora. I like to call it the pearl of Tahiti. So I like to say that you can actually do Tahiti not only as an authentic experience, but also affordably. If you can afford to go for the gusto and stay in an overwater bungalow every single night, then do that. But there's lots of options for people who may not want to or cannot afford to stay in the overwater bungalows every single night. As you can see in the bottom left picture, that is me on a quad. You can tell I'm having a very, very good time. It was just an amazing experience. And then those are some of the locals doing some of their ceremonies in Tahiti. So let's get started. Again, getting to Tahiti is really, really easy. Air Tahiti Nui does fly out of actually they do in some cases have flights out of Vancouver at certain times a year, but primarily you'd be flying out of the US, I believe out of Los Angeles and out of San Francisco. There are other air carriers as well, but Air Tahiti Nui, what's so great about them, when you step on the plane, you already feel like you're in Tahiti with the beautiful bright colors. The staff on board are wearing these gorgeous dresses, and they just make you feel like you're the most important person in the world. Economy class is really comfortable, no complaints with it at all. But I also had the privilege of traveling in premium economy. And premium economy is one level up, a little bit more comfortable with a fold-out footstool. I would highly recommend, for the extra cost and the extra comfort that you can get, I would go with premium economy in most cases. And then of course they do offer a business class, which has a bed. Now both Air Tahiti Nui and Air New Zealand, who went to the Cook Islands, do have the beds with the duvets and so on. So they're very, very comfortable. And if you've never flown that way, like I said before, if you do it just one time, it's really difficult to go back to economy. Now again, the people of Tahiti, they're different than the people of the Cook Islands. The people of the Cook Islands are kind of jovial and joyful and loud and kind of, always giggling and laughing. And the people of Tahiti are very sweet and calm and very, they often say, when they meet you, they say something, they say, Yorana. Instead of saying Yorana, which means hello, they sing, they say, Yorana. So as you're walking everywhere, and if you get eye contact with someone, they'll often say, Yorana, which is so beautiful because they almost sing their language to you. Now, I should mention, of course, in French Polynesia, the language is French, but of course, everyone speaks English, so there's no difficulty with that. And then the franc is actually the currency in Tahiti. So if you do go there, you don't need to take US dollars. You can actually go to the bank machine right there and take out the francs, or you can get them exchanged before you go. I like to take a few out before I jump on the plane and head there, but when I get there, I get it out of the bank machine. And there are bank machines readily accessible pretty much everywhere. And even in some of the resorts will have them. And there might be a minimal fee in order to use the bank machine there, but it's just handy to have. And again, the people are so, so gentle and lovely. The last time that I was there, when I was stuck there with COVID and I spent a few extra days, I actually spent a lot of time with the locals because I was supposed to be on a cruise called Aranui. And I'll talk a little bit about that further on in the presentation. And I wasn't able to get on Aranui. So I did spend some time with some locals. I even went to the local election and it was amazing. Everyone was very kind and very friendly to us. There is truly something for everyone in Tahiti, and there's so much more than Bora Bora. They have beautiful markets. And I should tell you that many of these photographs are my photographs, not all, but many of them are my photographs from my previous trips there. The top right-hand picture of the fish, I took that in the market in Papeete, just walking through the market. And you can see the beautiful colors. So there's markets, there's all kinds of excursions and activities to do. There's also luxurious, beautiful beaches where you can disconnect. Now, this picture is my favorite because I have never been anywhere in the world, nowhere in the world, that the water was as clear as this. If you're not a snorkeler and you do not want to put your face in the water, you don't need to. You can look down through the water and see the fish right from the surface. And this is truly how it looks. Now, there's an opportunity in most places that you go to snorkel, of course, and I've snorkeled all over the world, but never have I ever wanted to repeat and do the same snorkel trip over and over and over, because it is absolutely magical. The fish we saw a tiny octopus, we saw starfish, all kinds of fish. We saw Nemo. We were looking for Nemo and we found him. So it's a really wonderful way. And like I said, if you're not comfortable putting your face in the water, great opportunity here to do that. What I loved, where I've never seen this anywhere. Now, it's been 2.5 years since I traveled internationally, or almost 2 years, I guess. I've never seen this anywhere in the world, but when you arrive in the Tahiti airport, and your agent can actually pre-book this for you, they can arrange to have Tahiti Wi-Fi available for you when you arrive. So you can stay connected if you want to send pictures home or stay in touch with family. It comes in a waterproof little bag that you can see behind the actual handheld device. And this thing is incredible. We were on a private sailboat, could not see land anywhere, and we had Wi-Fi with this little thing. We were flying from Papeete to Bora Bora, and people were on their phones using Tahiti Wi-Fi in the sky. So this is incredible, and it works out to be about, I think it's about $7 a day, maybe $8 a day. Like I said, it's been a while since I was there, a couple of years, but what a great way to stay connected. Or you can just put it in the pouch and forget about it and have it for emergencies. But it's such a great feature that Tahiti offers in the airport or through your agent prior to going. Now, before you head off to the outer islands, I highly recommend that you do, when you land in the main island and you go to Papeete, that's the main airport, that you spend at least 2 nights in Papeete. It is beautiful. It's got these gorgeous murals. And again, these are several of them are my photos, not the best quality, but they give you the idea. Late night food trucks, walking around completely safe. You feel 100% here. The Tahitian market is incredible. I think I visited the market 3 or 4 times. And of course, black pearls are the #1 feature, not only in Tahiti, you also find them in the Cook Islands, but you'll see them everywhere in Tahiti. I actually have a black pearl necklace and earrings, but the earrings I am wearing tonight are made of seashell, and they're from the market in the top left photograph. So if you're a market person, definitely you want to spend some time in Papeete. From here, you can do an island tour and visit all the way around the island and see gorgeous waterfalls. And they actually make a stop at a river where these giant eels they feed them baguette, and these giant eels will come out of the water and take the baguette from your hand. It is craziness, but really, really exciting, interesting, and authentic. From Papeete, most guests will head over to Moorea. And Moorea is not far. It's only about a 45, 50-minute ferry ride. I think in miles, it's like 20 miles away from, let me just double check. I wrote it down here. I know it's 12 miles away from, or how many kilometers? I mean, half that, kilometer-wise, on a ferry. They have 2 ferries. They go all throughout the day. There's a fast ferry and a slower pace ferry that take you to Moorea. Now, Moorea is like magic on earth. It's so beautiful. It's so mountainous and peaceful. Again, no buildings are higher, I think, than 3 stories here. So very low rise buildings, and you can see the majestic mountains as you're coming along on the ferry. As we were heading over, we actually saw dolphins jumping in the water, which was an added bonus. And one of the things I thought was really interesting about Moorea is that actually in Tahiti itself, a baguette, which is about double the size of a baguette you would find anywhere else in the world, like super long, the maximum cost they can charge for a baguette is 53 cents, because they will not allow anyone to go hungry in Tahiti. So you always have access to bread, because at 53 cents, anyone can purchase that. You'll also be going along in Tahiti, and you might see something that looks like a mailbox beside the front of someone's house, but it might not be a mailbox because it's long and narrow like this. And often people think, oh, is that for newspapers? What is that for? But it's actually for their daily baguette that's delivered to their house each day, and it's put inside this tube at the front of their house. So that's really unique to Tahiti. Now, Moorea, this is one of my photographs on an evening that it rained, and I thought it was so, so beautiful. Now, this is a resort in Moorea. It's not a high-end resort, but it also still does have the overwater bungalows, which are lovely. But if that's not something you want to do in the beginning of your trip, I often suggest that if you're going to start in Papeete and head over to Moorea, maybe here looking at a less expensive overwater bungalow here or a garden view suite. They have such lush tropical gardens with little plunge pools that are so spectacular that this would be a great option for you too in Moorea, and maybe saving the overwater bungalow for later and keeping it a little bit more affordable if that's what you're looking for. Really interesting project that's going on in Moorea is the coral gardeners. Now, this is a group of young people who are regrowing coral in the ocean, because coral contributes to, of course, the oxygen all over the world, and it's a major factor with climate change and so on. And these young people have taken it upon themselves to replant coral and regrow coral all over the place. So it's amazing. You can visit here. They'll tell you your story. It is quite an experience, and then you can actually purchase a piece of coral and they will plant it, or you can plant it with them in the ocean, and you're giving back to this beautiful destination. Really amazing. 25-year-old kids taking this project on. Really exceptional. You saw that photo of me in the beginning where I was on that quad. This is one of the most amazing quad tours. If you've done them in Mexico or other destinations, they're always fun. But in here in Moorea, it's quite different, because the gentleman who does these tours, he brings you into his home, his life, his family. The photo on the left in the circle with the green or the sort of turquoise curtains hanging down, that's his grandmother's home. We went into her home. She's a local artist, and she showed us all of her artwork. Her husband has passed away, and she's got all kinds of art on the walls, photographs, not photographs, but paintings that she's done of her husband, and she has stories that she'll share with you. As well, in the bottom right-hand corner, you do meet artists who do the silk painting. And of course, up in the right-hand corner, that's our guide. And so it was so authentic. I felt like I was traveling with a friend, really experiencing how Tahitians live, seeing the dogs, seeing the animals, even seeing, in the yards where they live and where they play. Now, stepping back to the Cook Islands for 1 second, just because it popped into my mind, I should tell you that most of the people in the Cook Islands actually bury their deceased in their backyards. So I thought that was a very interesting fact. That's not the case necessarily in Tahiti, but in some cases it does happen. Fresh local cuisine. And tonight, at the end of the presentation, I'm just gonna look at the clock here, we're gonna do a little cooking demonstration and share with you in the top right-hand corner. It's a version of that called poisson cru. If you like fresh fruit, fresh pineapple, the best tasting pineapple in the world. I know people say Hawaii is the place that has the best pineapple. I would have to disagree, because it's amazing here in Tahiti. You can have dining experiences where you actually eat your meal with your feet and your toes in the water and the sand. So lots of different options. Every level of spending, if you want something, not so expensive, all the way up to luxury dining with Michelin chefs as well. But the key word here is fresh. A lot of wonderful fish that you'll be eating in Tahiti. Now, I keep talking about Bora Bora, and that's what everybody knows Tahiti for. We like to say it's the crown jewel of Tahiti. It is truly spectacular. When you're looking down from the mountaintops and you can see the water, and if you've been to the Caribbean or Mexico or anywhere else in the world, you've seen turquoise water, but you have not seen turquoise water like you will see here. You'll have opportunities to swim with turtles. You'll be laying on top of the surface of the water, and large, very large turtles swimming right underneath your belly. You'll be able to see sharks. You'll be able to just spend time in the water, paddleboard, just sit on the beach and really enjoy the colors of Bora Bora. Now, you can do an excursion in some of the resorts. You can actually walk off the beach and swim with the stingrays, but there is an excursion you can take, and it is going out on a boat, and you will swim with the turtles. And everything is done to make sure that it is safe for you and it's really good for, the animals as well. When you're swimming over the turtles, they don't allow you to swim wildly with your arms flailing around. They actually have you on a rope behind the boat where they pull you gently through the water and you go just above the turtles. You're going so gently that the turtles will actually surface beside you and then go back down. It's very gentle. And then you can swim with the stingrays and the sharks. So this is the first place I've ever swam with sharks in my life. And these sharks are the black-tipped, black fin sharks. They're very harmless, although they do tell you to keep your arms in like a Tyrannosaurus Rex, so you don't mistakenly get caught, mistaken for fish in the water. So, but really, really safe and really, really exciting. You'll be amazed how close they do come to you. Now, I keep mentioning these overwater bungalows. They are truly spectacular in Bora Bora. Now, if you're going to do this and you can afford to do several nights here, wonderful. But if you can't, if you're traveling more on a budget, save this for the last part of your trip. Visit Bora Bora as the crown jewel and spend at least a couple of nights in an overwater bungalow. Many of them, well, I think all of them, have a glass panel in the floor where you can stand and look through the panel and see the fish swimming below your little villa. You can walk along the walkways and you can jump off anywhere and swim all around. It is truly beautiful. In some cases, they'll have a plunge pool off the end. It is the epitome of luxury. And like I mentioned earlier, we haven't traveled in 18 months. We've already renovated our kitchens. We've done all those things. Now is the time to start dreaming and really thinking about getting out there and exploring these destinations. We do have a tour that actually hits all of these spots. It does Tahiti, Moorea, Bora Bora, and another island called Taha. And there are several other islands in Tahiti that I have not mentioned, that you can also visit, but in a 1 hour presentation, I have a cooking demonstration. I'm just hitting on the main factors, but your travel professional, your agents that you work so closely with can assist you with that. And I can also help them. So you can see what's included in this tour with the accommodation, all the transfers, flights, and accommodation. So this just gives you an idea of something that we can do that's hosted, but we can also do independent tours as well. Now, before we head to the cooking demonstration, I want to talk a little bit about Aranui. Aranui is a cargo ship combined with a passenger ship. They like to call it a luxury passenger ship. I wouldn't say it's luxury if you've traveled on Silver Seas or any other cruise lines. I would say it is a moderate cruise line, but it's unique to Aranui because it does travel around to locations that you can't get to otherwise, like the Marquesas, unless you have your own sailboat. And I do know that Linda's going to join us, and maybe she'll talk a bit about that because she has sailed around the Marquesas and several other places in Tahiti. But this is a really unique experience where as the ship travels around the Tahitian islands, sort of the remote islands, and drops off goods to these islands. Sometimes it can be a couch or a car, and it's really interesting because you can look over and watch as they're delivering these goods. So it's something very, very different. And then while you're on there, you're experiencing a cruising experience, but it's very different in the way that the crew on board become very much a part of your journey. They dine with you, you get to know them very well. And on a 14-day experience with Aranui, you really do get to know everyone. I think there's only 230 passengers. Let me just double check. Yes, 230 passengers and 103 cabins on Aranui. And this was the ship that I was to be on when COVID hit. And I unfortunately was not able to take it, but I will be taking it in the near future. And there's a lot of clientele coming from France that come on this on these departures, as well as Quebec. So there's a really strong French flavor when you get on board. The food is very good. I would not say it is 5-star. So if that's what you're looking for, this is not the experience for you. But if you really want to get to some remote places, this is exceptional. And I think, there are people out there who would really enjoy traveling with Aranui on the Aranui 5. That's the name of the ship. So that's a great option, and your agents do know about that, and I can give them more information as well if they need it. This is a sample itinerary of where Aranui goes. It would start in Papeete, and it hits all these islands that I did not mention, like Nukuhiva, Hiva Oa, Fatuhiva and Rangiroa. So lots of places, some more remote, where you can go and, choose your own black pearl, or perhaps purchase some locally grown vanilla. You can get the vanilla beans, you can buy vanilla there. Those are the most common things that people purchase. Coffee is another great purchase when you're in Tahiti. But there's lots and lots to see and do. So let me see, I think I'm very close to the end of my presentation. There we are, and that's a close-up of one of those turtles. And I'm not sure if Linda's gonna come on right now before I head into my cooking demonstration, but I just wanted to thank you for taking the time to listen to that and see if anyone had any questions about either Cook Islands or Tahiti. Maybe Darcy will jump on.
Oh, sorry.
So
There's
is
the big
Linda gonna
screen.
jump on with me?
Here, now I'm just going through the chat right now.
Okay, perfect.
Excited, and New Zealand's my favorite. I think it's just all kudos from what I could see in there. It's good to know. Love the photo. Bora Bora.
I have a couple questions.
Oh, but Linda has a couple questions.
Okay, hi Linda.
Hi.
How
Hi.
about you?
Can you, good. Can you tell me a little bit more about this dream yacht charter?
The one that I did the little sailboat charter.
Yes, the one mentioned in your brochure,
Yeah, so you're not talking about our new, you're talking about the private yacht.
the private yacht, yes.
Yeah, so we have a charter company that we work with that does private yachts. And so it can be the one that we were on, it slept 8 people, I believe. It comes with a captain and also a chef on board. And so you will sort of pre-select your itinerary prior to going out, but it's completely custom, Linda. So it's wherever you want to go. They will take you, they'll give you, of course, suggestions and take you to sort of some of the remote hidden gems. But that was one of the top experiences I've ever had in my life. At one point, we were passing by an island and there were local Tahitians having a family party. And you could hear the music coming from the party and it was kind of bouncing off the ocean. So we just anchored in front of where they lived and sat and drank a glass of wine and listened to the local music and really became involved. It was fabulous.
Sounds fabulous. The number of, I don't want to ask you a lot of specific questions because I think it'll actually put a downer on the fact that this thing is so spectacular and you've done such a great presentation. I did have a few quick little questions, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
Okay. If I, as a consumer, and I look at these islands and I can only see so many, which one would you pick for the best for hiking and which one's the best for diving and which one's the best for snorkeling?
Okay, so for hiking, I would definitely say Moorea for hiking. It's fantastic for hiking. Lots of mountains. You can do I mentioned the quad, which goes up to many of these places. So what I would suggest is to do a quad tour and then you can go hike those places as well. But I would definitely say Moorea for hiking. Snorkeling, there is not a bad place in Tahiti to snorkel, but I do think that Bora Bora is probably the best place in the world. The water there is just so crystal clear. So that was hiking. What was the first question? Hiking?
Snorkeling, diving?
Diving as well. Just about anywhere, but again, Bora Bora seems to be the place where most people do. But as you go through your experience, you'll have several opportunities to snorkel in any one of these destinations. Papeete, people don't generally go to the beach there. It's more like getting into the culture and things. So it's when you hit Moorea. We did some fabulous snorkeling and stand-up paddleboarding in Moorea, and really off the beach from our resort. Like we just jumped in the water and the fish were just like they were bouncing off of us. It was incredible.
That's wonderful. What about physically challenged people? Is there an island that would be better for them to stay put at than others?
I think that most of them now are working towards being more, have the facilities that have easier access. There are specific resorts. Some people will go to a resort like the Conrad and stay for the entire time, like a luxury resort. And then, of course, if we advise in advance that there are some mobility issues and that kind of thing, we can arrange to make sure that, the room is wheelchair accessible. They will be greeted at the dock. There are ramps and so on. So there is specific accommodation. In any of these places, you're going to run across resorts and hotels that are not. One of the things that we tend to sell a lot of are actually, and I didn't have a chance to mention, are the homestays. We work with some homestays that do work with our travel agent partners and with us. I can't think of what we call them. Oh my
Guest
gosh.
houses.
Yeah, the guest houses. And so in a guest house, it's very unlikely that there'll be mobility accessible, but there are definitely some resorts out there that are fabulous.
As a person who wanted to go independently to all these islands and still see things, do they have to pre-book day trips while they're there? Or is this a type of place where they can just go and be able to get one?
Well, I always recommend that you pre-book your excursions with your travel consultant before you go, to know that you're getting the absolute best value, number one, and to know that you're going to be able to do it, because you can arrive in destination and they can be sold out. So I always say, you know what, if you've got your agent who's able to book it for you, book it in advance.
What about air passes? Is there an air pass so that you can choose your islands when you get to Tahiti rather than decide beforehand?
Not that I'm aware of, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I've never experienced that. So it is possible that that could be available, but if it is available, I don't know that, I don't think that it would be difficult to book it through your consultant. And again, I would recommend, if there is an air pass, that you do it through your consultant. But one of the things I strongly recommend is, because of everything that we've been through, gone are the days that you just go online and book a trip, because there's nothing worse than being stuck in a destination. You need to be able to rely on a professional to make sure that you're going to get home safe and sound and that you are informed. So I think it's really important that you stay connected with your agent.
It all sounds wonderful. You've been so informative. I'm having a hard time coming up with questions for you. I did want to go back over to the Cook Islands for just a second. Have you heard anything about when they might be opening?
At this point, they're hoping for December. So that's the latest thing I read today, that they were hoping for December, but there are no guarantees. There are no COVID cases in the Cook Islands right now. So they are being very, very cautious. They aren't even opening up to the New Zealanders yet. And their primary guests are New Zealanders. So they're taking their time. But the reason being, for both Tahiti and Cook Islands, I was actually surprised that Tahiti now is open. I'm so grateful that it is. But they're taking very good precautions with testing and so on before you enter into Tahiti. But they have a vulnerable community, just as we do in Canada. They have a lot of elders there that are vulnerable, so they need to take care of them. So that's really why they're very, very cautious. Oh, you want to unshare the screen? I can absolutely do that. That's a great idea. There we go. Is that better?
Yes.
Okay, great. Which is good you said that, because when I do my cooking demonstration, I'm going to have to unshare anyway. So that's great. Did you have any other questions, Linda?
Not that I can think of. You covered so much in the presentation. It was absolutely wonderful.
Okay,
Thank you.
So what I'm going to do.
Wait, Darcy, there was one question in the chat from Cindy. How many nights in port on the Marie 5?
Well, it's a 14-day trip, so almost every day is in port. I think you only have maybe 2 days at sea, 2 or 3 days at sea, so it's quite an active, and it's great. I mean, I wouldn't say Aranui is for mobility challenged people, that's for sure, because it's getting off and on the ship and going into these little ports that are really unique, remote places. So it's for the more active people and to see really unique, different things.
And then one of the questions that was in the chat from Gil Goodjohn, how much would that proposed itinerary that you had at cost? Drum roll.
Ballpark. Oh my gosh. So the ones they're repricing the ones that Anderson Vacations, but the Aranui, oh my gosh. I think the Aranui for 14 days, if I'm not wrong, is about 5,000 per person. But don't hold me to that, because I haven't looked at it for 18 months, because that's when I was supposed to be on it before. So I haven't looked at it, and the prices may have gone down, they may have gone up, but really good value when you consider 14 days. Your meals are included. I believe they even have beer and wine at dinner. We'll double check that. But then of course you can buy your alcoholic beverages, and they're not outrageously expensive, because I was checking into that. One of the really neat things about Aranui that I loved was I did a bunch of research before I went. And so I always like to bring things to the place I'm going that I know they can't get locally. So it's really hard to get fishing hooks, apparently. So I went and bought all these fishing hooks to give to the people on board the ship. I thought all the staff would love to have fishing hooks, and then they'd all want to be my friend. So it'd be super fun, because I'd have all these friends to hang out with. And then I didn't get to go on. So I came home with boxes of fishing hooks. So I need to go back. So if you decide to go, talk to your consultant, and they can ask me, and I'll tell you what to bring, because they sure do appreciate it.
Okay, my dear. Now, if you wouldn't mind just going, after that wonderful presentation, if you wouldn't mind just going to your kitchen and cooking for us.
I'm actually not going to put the presentation on, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my camera off, for just like maybe 30 seconds. So Darcy, if you want to tell them like your best joke or something, I'll be right back. I just have to get
Wow.
ready. I just have to put my little apron on, okay? So
Okay, go put your apron on.
I'll be right back.
Um, no pressure, right?
Tell your favorite,
Here, yes, my lovely Catherine has just given me an idea of something to talk about. So on November 23rd, so what an awesome presentation by Darcy. We do like to do a monthly presentation here at Personal Travel Management. And the next month, which is November, is going to be Tanzania. So that's pretty exciting. We're got a company called Boutique Safaris that we'll be showcasing. And we'll be speaking with them on November 23rd at Tuesday again at 7 o'clock. So that is great. And I'll just talk about while she's gone as well, because I don't have any jokes. Do stay to the end of the presentation. If you're not hungry and you don't want to watch her, do stay anyway, because we're going to invite you. Oh no, I guess, yeah, we're going to invite you to do our survey and an opportunity to win a prize too. So you can hear the details on that at the end of the presentation. So stay tuned and we'll give you details on how to do a survey with us and win a $25 Visa gift card. So that's something to look forward to too. So that is my 30 seconds.
I am back, okay? So this is actually a flower crown, a Tahitian flower crown.
Awesome.
And mine's not made of real flowers, but this is something that I put together because I loved it so much. And when you're walking through the markets, you actually can see them making these beautiful crowns. So it's heavy, so it might fall over my eyes. So I might have to keep readjusting it. And this is my little apron. I don't know if you can see this apron, but this was just given to me. Isn't this lovely? It has little tassels on it. This was given to me by my father-in-law who just came here from Ecuador. So it's a very international night for all of us. So tonight, what I'm going to make for you is something called poisson cru. And I spent about, I don't know, 6 hours learning how to say cru because I was saying it completely wrong. I was practicing while I was in Tahiti. So we're going to go over this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my camera down so you can see what my hands are doing. Okay, so let's see if we can get this right. And so I think you can see it now. Can you see my cutting board? You're good to go? Okay, so we're going to start out with in poisson cru, I should tell you, is, let me put you back up for 1 second. Poisson cru is this wonderful ceviche-like dish that's famous in Tahiti. So if you're not a ceviche person, you say, oh, I would never eat raw fish, you've got to try it before you make that decision because it is the best. And not only do they serve it at lunch and dinner, they serve it for breakfast as well. So you don't have to eat it at breakfast if you don't want to, but it is truly, truly incredible. So now I'll flip this down. And it's made out of tuna. The main ingredient is tuna. So I have myself a beautiful piece of ahi tuna. Now you can purchase this just about anywhere. I usually buy it I'm on Vancouver Island, I should mention. I buy this at either Quality Foods or Save On Foods. And this little piece of tuna, ahi tuna, is frozen when I buy it. You can also buy fresh. And this piece is only $4. $4 for this beautiful piece. Now, it just came out of the freezer about an hour ago. So it's still fairly frozen in the middle, but it's much easier to cut if it is a little bit frozen versus if it's thawed out completely. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to cut your tuna into small bite-sized pieces. Now, I did mention my father-in-law. He's here from Ecuador visiting. He's staying with us until January, and he's my favorite person ever. And I'm super excited because this will be the first time that he gets to try poisson cru. And I do make this all the time. I'm not just making it for you here tonight. I do make it all the time. So what I want you to do is just cut it into little bite-sized pieces that will go into the bowl. So I'll just quickly do this. And you can make it any size that you like, but I like it to just be little bite size. And you can see that it is still quite frozen in the middle, which gives me the ability to cut it quite easily. So you can see how lovely that is, a nice pink color, absolutely beautiful. So the first thing that we're gonna do is take that tuna and put it in this small little clear glass bowl so you can see what I'm doing. Now, this has to sit for a little while, but the first thing you do with this is you actually take a lime. And I've got a lime that I just picked up from the grocery store today, nice and fresh. And if you don't have one of these, you need to come to Vancouver Island and go to Coombs, where you can buy this for $3. This is the best investment I ever made in my whole entire life. I just love it. And another great tip is you can take your lime and put it in the microwave for about 20 seconds and you'll get double the juice out of it. So you're just going to take the juice and squeeze it all over that beautiful tuna, just like that. There we go. We're going to do both halves. The more juice, the better. If you really love lime, you can actually do 2 limes, whatever you like. It just adds a little bit more citrus flavor to it. And then it kind of cooks the tuna actually. So it's not really raw because citrus does cook the raw fish. And if you ever go to Mexico or South America, you will find that the ceviches are similar, but not quite the same. So now I've got my lime on top of my, I'm gonna adjust my hat here, on top of my tuna. And then I'm just going to mix that up a little bit. And that what we normally do is let that sit for about 5 minutes, a little bit longer if you want more lime flavor, but sometimes I get impatient and I just want to nibble it down really quick. Okay, then the next thing I take is a cucumber. So I've got a half of a cucumber here. I would use about a half a cucumber like this, just cut off the end. I prefer to chop the cucumber into small, quite small bite-sized pieces. So, you know, however small you want it. I like it really small, so I kind of like almost sliver it like this. And I have not yet caught myself doing one of these, so let's see how we do. And then I just cut it into very small pieces like this. And this just adds a little bit of texture and crunch to your poisson cru. And it has this amazing smell of spring, which I love, even though it's fall now. It just reminds me of spring. It just smells so fresh and so yummy. So just for time's sake, I'm just going to cut up half of this one. And I'm going to throw that into another bowl right here. Put that aside. And we'll throw that in. And this is one of those things that you can make on a Friday night. It'll just take you to the tropics. It's just so fresh and light and healthy. There's absolutely no oil or fats in this at all. Then the next thing we're going to add is a tomato. I have a Roma tomato, but if you have just a regular tomato, that's fine too. And normally when I cut a tomato, my knives will not even go through the skin, but I sharpened my knife tonight just for you so that I can cut through my tomato. Usually I'm wrestling with it for hours. So I'm pretty sure my husband would be very happy with me that I actually sharpened my knife. My dad gave me a knife sharpener for Christmas because he sees me struggling all the time. So again, little small pieces. Let me make sure I'm in the middle here so you can see what I'm doing. You can see a lot of the juice coming out. Some people like to seed their tomatoes. I'm not fussy. You know what? I like it either way. So I'm not going to seed it tonight. But again, I'll do that. And I'm going to add a little bit more. I'm going to do the whole Roma tomato because it's not too large. Just add that to make sure. So it looks like a little salad. Like it looks so fresh and yummy, like a nice spring salad. Then we add a white onion. I think you can use any kind of onion, but the recipe calls for a white onion, a half of a white onion. And I only recently learned how to chop an onion properly, but let's get this going very quickly here. The easiest way that I know how to chop. And again, if you don't like onion, or if there's something in this recipe that you don't like, you can omit it. And you know what? Feel free to substitute something. If you're not an onion person, substitute maybe some celery to give it a little bit of crunch, a little bit of flavor. You can do whatever you want because it's your poisson cru. So you can do anything that you like. Quickly get this. And if there's chefs watching this, I'm pretty sure they're going to say I'm not chopping it right because I'm not doing the right thing with my fingers, but that's okay. So far, oops, so far no injuries. So we'll add that to our bowl. We're getting closer. Yummers. So excited. Okay, so we've got our onion, our tomato, and our cucumber. Now, we're almost getting there. Shouldn't wipe my hands on my apron because it's a gift. Okay, and now, okay, so the last time I did this demonstration, I actually had a real coconut and a hammer, and it didn't go well. So tonight, I'm going to use canned coconut milk, and guess what? It tastes, I think, even better with canned coconut milk. So I like to give little hints and tips, and if you like to buy coconut milk, I use it all the time. I make coconut curries at least twice a week. If you want the best coconut milk with the least amount of calories and fat, you can buy this coconut milk at Superstore. You can see it here. And you can get it on sale for 85 cents a can. And when it's not on sale, it's like $1.35. It's the best deal in the whole entire world. So you've got your coconut milk here, and we're going to add about 3/4 of a cup. So I didn't bring my measuring cup out, so I'm just gonna wing it. But first I'm gonna stir it a bit because I really want to make sure that it's mixed. Sometimes the water separates, the coconut water separates. So I'll mix that a bit, and then I'll put in about 3/4 of a cup. So I'm just gonna wing that a bit. I think that's about, a little bit more, like that. Okay, so now we've got that all mixed together, and we've got our tuna is still marinating over here. Now, I like spice. If you don't like spice, you can omit this completely, but if you even like spice a teeny tiny bit, I think you should try the spice. I like spice a lot, so I'm gonna go nuts on this. I'm gonna add 2 Thai chilies. And again, you can get these at any market, really inexpensive, and they're quite hot. You're supposed to wear gloves, but for the sake of time, I'm not gonna wear gloves, and I'll deal with that later. We'll see how that goes. So I just chop it up very finely. And again, I have my husband's from Ecuador and my father-in-law, and they like spice. So I'm pretty sure they're gonna love this. They just walked in the door. I heard them come in, and I'm pretty sure they're anticipating. Now, I like to cut this very fine. I would not put a large chunk in here, because if you get a large chunk of Thai red chili, you won't forget it. So let me cut that really fine. Some people like to take the seeds out because a lot of the heat is in the seeds, but I don't mind that, so I leave the seeds in. If you wanted, you could have actually just gone like that and taken the seeds out. Ooh, this is gonna be spicy. Okay, so now we mix that in. We're good, there we go. Okay, so I only have 2 more things. Let's add the cilantro. Again, not a cilantro person, don't add cilantro. If you're a cilantro person, add extra cilantro. It's so beautiful and fresh. Just chop it up. Just pull a big handful off. Doesn't matter how much. Use as much as you want. I like lots of cilantro. My husband likes it finely chopped. I like it chunky chopped. So we go in between. We compromise on that. And here we go. I'm gonna do this a little bit. I have to do this a little bit more because he's going to be the one that's eating it. So I'm going to chop it a little bit finer. As you can tell, I'm a bit of a messy cook, but I have fun doing it. And then my husband swoops in behind and cleans up after me. I think that's a perfect marriage. Okay, so there we go. So now we've got our cilantro. So we're going to toss that in there just like that. So let me put this knife down. You can see I'm making a mess. I'm going to get rid of this board. Put this over here. And I'm just going to put these in front. So you can see these okay? Okay, perfect. So now the only thing we need to do is season this before we throw our tuna in there. Again, I would leave the tuna a little bit longer in the lime, but I like to put some fresh ground pepper and then season with salt. It's completely up to you how much salt you use. I would use at least a couple of good pinches, then taste it, and then add more if you like. Don't add too much in the beginning. You can always add more. It's tough to take it out, of course. So now I'm going to add the tuna that's been marinating in the lime. So we're going to pretend it's been about 10 minutes that it's been marinating, 5 to 10 minutes, and we're going to add that in to our mixture, just like that. Then we're going to stir this up so it's all mixed together. Now, if you want to be fancy, you can get a coconut, cut it in half, and you could serve it in a coconut to your guests, which would be truly amazing. But today we don't have a coconut. So what we're going to do is I'm going to taste this. I just want you to take a look at how beautiful this is. You can see the coconut milk, the tuna, the tomatoes, everything mixed together. The smell, I wish you could smell it. It's so fresh and yummy. So now that you've seen it, I'm going to flip it back up. Let me fix my hat so it's not covering my eyes anymore. And then I'm going to give this a little bit of a taste. So again, the lime juice, the longer it stays in there, it will cook the tuna. Oh my gosh. Absolutely delicious. Really spicy. Really spicy. Maybe go 1 pepper, maybe not 2. It's a little spicy, but absolutely delicious. So that is how you make Tahitian poisson cru. And I hope that if you were at home, you made it along with me, or maybe you'll try making it this weekend. Remember to hit up one of the grocery stores. It's really hot. So someone said, you'll light your mouse on fire. It's burning. Try hitting up one of the grocery stores and picking up a piece of ahi tuna and make this for yourself or for some friends. It's wonderful. So thank you so much for joining me. I think Darcy wants to probably jump in at the end here.
Am I on? Yeah. Okay. Oh, Jenny, that was her face, or your eyes are tearing up, Darcy. Oh my gosh, that's so fantastic. Awesome, awesome, awesome presentation. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I really don't have too much else to say. I didn't see any of the questions in the chat. That was just amazing. What we are going to do is follow up in the next 2 days. In the next 2 days, you're going to get an email from us, and it's going to have a survey on there. So check your inbox for an email from Personal Travel Management with the word Tahiti in the subject line, and there'll be a survey in there. Answer the questions in the survey, and you have a chance to win a $25 gift card. So keep in touch. Thank you, Darcy, and thank you everybody for coming. And I think that's it. We're calling it a night, right? Yeah. Got the heads up from the thumbs up from the manager. Have a good night, everybody. We'll see
Bye,
you next
everyone.
time. November
Thanks so much.
23rd. Thanks again, Darcy.
My pleasure. Take care, everyone. Bye.